Welcome. Oh, pause it. Go on ahead and go back to start the stream. No, hide the starting stream again. We're not getting any audio for some reason. It's going through the thing, but I'm not hearing it in my headset. Testing 1, 2. Hit this button that says starting soon so that we're off camera. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's broadcast. Test. Yeah, it's going over the stream, but it's not. Hide that again. I just want to try something. Testing. I'm still not getting it in my headset either. So that's an issue. We'll go with one speaker. Testing. For some reason, this isn't. Test. Well, let's hope that the third time's the charm,
Yes,
Coach.
sir.
So welcome, everyone, to tonight's podcast, Lion Nation podcast, here on the campus of Leander High School. It's a special night. We kind of made this a tradition over the last few years since you arrived here at Leander High School, Coach. It's called Trunk or Treat, sponsored by LHS Community Outreach. So we want to thank the LHS Community Outreach for sponsoring tonight's podcast. And I'll let you talk about Trunk or Treat and the community outreach if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Trunk or Treat event was something that was going on here at Leander for a long time. I don't know exactly when it started, but we, in our first couple of years together, had an opportunity to start doing the podcast on Trunk or Treat night, which is a whole lot of fun. This is one of the biggest and best community events that we have here at Leander High School. It's an opportunity for kids and families across the community to come out and interact with all of our programs, athletic programs, fine arts programs. You'll have all the trucks and cars lined up full of candy, and kids get to dress up in their Halloween costume and get a little early head start on collecting as much candy as they can. And it's really cool to be able to get our football players and our athletes out and be involved with the community and help put this event on for Leander High School. So it's great to do the podcast on this night. It's great for our kids to be out and to participate. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and it's one of those things that you don't really think about in terms of an athletic program like at Leander football, where you don't really consider a lot of the community stuff that goes on. If you're just a fan or even a parent, you don't realize it until your kid goes through the program that there's a lot of activity. There's kids that visit the elementary schools from time to time and the middle schools and kind of mentor some of these youngsters that may be coming to Leander High School down the road. And I always say it's an opportunity to recruit and show kids that, this is really a program they want to be a part of.
Absolutely. We'll have this Friday's game is senior night, so obviously we're going to be honoring the seniors, but we're also going to be able to get our middle school programs, Running Brushy Middle School and LMS, up to come out and join us through the pregame warm-ups and be a part of the first part of the game, the initial celebration. And so it's cool to be able to have those kids be around our older athletes, our varsity players, and see what it's like on a Friday night and get an opportunity to watch a game with us and enjoy it with us, and they are the future of the program, so getting them involved and keeping them involved is really, really important to us.
Well, and honestly, you can watch them on Tuesday nights when you go over to one of the middle schools and see one of their contests, and you can hear from Coach West or the coach at LMS and get an idea of a kid's character or their qualities, their athletic ability. But until you meet them, you don't really get to get a good grasp of how they are. And,
sure.
Whether it's somebody you're super excited to add to the program or, somebody you might need to keep an eye on and motivate a little bit here and there. Some kids are like that. I was like that. I needed a coach yelling at me. So talk a little bit about this upcoming game, because you mentioned having the middle school kids, the Running Brushy kids and the LMS kids. They have a shared disdain for the opponent on Friday night, and that is the Cedar Park Timberwolves. And, of course, they play the Cedar Park middle school kids annually, and it's really a rivalry. When you look at the history of Leander Independent School District, it was Leander High School from 1899 through what was it? You were there,
99.
somewhere around there. And ultimately it became just Leander and Cedar Park for a little while, and there's just been a rivalry between those two teams since the beginning. And, of course, we have rivals with Glenn and Vista and Rouse, and even Vandegrift, depending on what sports we play them in. But ultimately there's nothing like the Cedar Park game.
Yeah, you go back and kind of look at how the district has grown over the last several years. As those new schools open, you get those rivalries with those new schools because they're the new ones and all of those things. But, I mean, you look at this district, it's always going to go back to Cedar Park and Leander because they existed by themselves for a really long time. And so this is obviously a big game. There's just the fact that it's Cedar Park, and then you add, playoff implications on top of it. Everything about Friday night is going to be really, really important and really, really big for the program.
Well, and we don't have the standings pulled up or anything, and we don't need to, so don't worry about that one. But, just looking at the standings, there's kind of a little bit of a log jam there at the top, and then the Lions are in that second tier of teams competing for those 4 playoff spots, where we're looking at probably 5, maybe 6 teams with the potential to make the top 4. This game's going to be huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, if the Lions are able to pull off a win on Friday, it'll be a tie record in district with Cedar Park, but the tiebreaker is there.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about postseason.
Sure.
I feel a little jinky when I do that, but you're looking at your destiny is in your own hands, so to speak. They like to say that when it comes to football. What do you tell your kids about the focus of this week? Because obviously they want to beat Cedar Park as bad as anybody, but it's not a matter of want to all the time, especially in football. A lot of it's execution and preparation. So give us your thoughts on the week so far. I mean, I know we're only midweek, but what do practices look like? What's the mood? How are the guys approaching this week?
This is the position that they want to be in to start the season. You're sitting here 2 games out, and you have an opportunity to reach the goal that you initially started with. So the mood is definitely high in terms of, how they're handling practice. And, we're trying to make sure that they, fix anything that's wrong, focus on the execution part, do all of the little things that it's going to take in order for you to be successful on Friday. And they're taking it all in and, working really hard to fix any mistakes and just polish the things that we've been working on all season. So it's exactly where you want to be. It's the opportunity that you wanted. It's just a matter of now getting to Friday night. I know when you get to Wednesday, you start kind of getting the itch, and so it's just reminding them before you get to Friday, we got to take care of Thursday. So
you get those midweek butterflies, and then you get the late week butterflies, and then you're in the middle of the game. So, when you're dealing with an opponent like Cedar Park, who has had quite a bit of success on the gridiron over the last few years. And as you progress through the season, we've noticed you've opened up the offensive playbook a little bit more and a little bit more. Are there new wrinkles that fans can expect? You don't have to describe them, obviously, but
yeah, offensively, that's the goal, is to try to start with, our base packages all the way going back to the spring and build on them every week once you hit the season. And by the end of it, some of the things that you saw in, week 0 and week 1 look the same but turn out differently in terms of the execution of the play and what that next wrinkle is. Defensively, it's a little bit different. You try to get consistency by your defensive players and just put them in position to make big tackles and make big plays. So offensively, you're trying to create those opportunities to show you something and turn it into something else by the end of it. And defensively, you're just trying to polish those skills and techniques that you've been working on all year long.
So the Cedar Park attack is probably offensively, they're probably not as good as they've been in the past. I don't want to detract from them because they can move the football and score. How do you approach stopping their offense?
It starts with their running back, who's leading rusher, or probably second in the district right now, but was leading at one point. Very talented kid, very athletic, good size. So you just got to focus on dealing with those, 5 offensive linemen and dealing with him. And then, they have a talented quarterback he's young, so we're, thinking he's going to make a few mistakes, and you got to capitalize when he does. And then, taking care of those receivers. They've got 4 or 5 guys that are kind of sitting from a yardage standpoint all within 10 or 15 yards of each other. So that they spread it out. You can't really go to sleep on one individual guy. It's going to take you taking care of all of them.
Well, and you have to be a little careful about rolling a safety over to one side of the field to focus on an individual if they're able to spread it around like that. But that also, you mentioned the quarterback being a little younger, that also creates more opportunities for mistakes on a young man's part. So, as you said, obviously you'll want to capitalize on those. Special teams wise, do we see anything standing out that between the two teams? I mean, I know we've got some great kick returners.
Yeah.
We've had teams basically do everything that they can think of to avoid kicking it to Zane Wooldridge on some plays, and they'll do what they can to kick it out of the end zone if they can.
Sure.
Does Cedar Park have anything like that, kick returners we got to watch out for?
They're going to be just very sound in all of their special teams phases, and it's going to be the same athletes that are playing receivers and playing in the secondary, and we kind of understand what they are in terms of returners. I think our kickoff team has been one of the most more impressive parts of our special teams because of how fast they get down, very, very sure tacklers. There's not been a ton of opportunities for big returns, so we're really excited about that matchup between those two special teams units. They do a good job, and we understand that. We're going to try to take advantage of everything that we can. That's just the bonus group that may get you an extra possession or extended drive that we are going to need to perform well.
Well, and those are highly beneficial. If you can get the turnovers, you get a fake punt or blocked kick, something like that.
Sure.
That will, one, change momentum, but 2, give you that extra possession.
Yeah.
or an opportunity to score. And we've seen the defense come up with some turnovers recently. How has that trend started? Is it just something that it's just kind of a roll of the dice? You play the same way, and sometimes the ball comes your way.
Well, yeah, I think if you're playing consistently, you're going to force the offense eventually into a mistake where they throw a ball into coverage that they shouldn't, or guys are tackling well and they put a ball on the ground because you have multiple hats on the ball. And that's probably been the strongest thing about our defense is typically we're getting, not just one guy trying to make a tackle. There's multiple guys there. And you get a guy wrapped up and guys can fight and get a ball out. That's going to be big for us. So it's just about being consistent and making sure we execute.
Well, and we talk to the kids about this all the time, about how short the football season is, and you don't realize that you're looking at it, you're going through 2-a-days, you're like, I got 10 games. I mean, I'm going to be playing until at least early November, and if we make the playoffs beyond that, you think you have a lot of time.
You don't.
But it's going by quick. And you mentioned that Friday is senior night. You get the Cedar Park Timberwolves at home. How important is it for fans in Lion Nation to come out to the game and not just decide, I can watch the broadcast? You can always watch the broadcast.
Sure.
It's on YouTube. So.
Yeah, absolutely. This is about honoring this senior class, which is, this is the biggest senior class we've had since I've been here. They're all really dedicated to what they do. They've done a great job of being ambassadors, not just for the football program, but also for Leander High School in general. So above the football part of it, it's about just showing some love to those seniors that have really put a lot of time into this over the course of their, 4-year high school career, and God knows how long prior to high school. And, for some of them, this may be the last time that they have an opportunity to play football.
Exactly.
And so it's big to just show that respect and love for the young men that work really hard to put a good product on the field every Friday.
Well, I'll say it. I've said it to them. I'll say it again. The memories that are built through the hard work and sweat with your friends in this kind of process of a season in football, it's something that sticks with you for the rest of your life. So I hope for the best for these guys, because this team has really performed well. There have been a couple of games where we left points on the field. The outcome might not have been the same, but there's no quitting these guys.
Sure.
And it's been really impressive to watch. And Frank, you got some questions for Coach here?
What's the message going into this last game? I mean, have we done anything different this week? Is there a hype week or? Yeah,
we try to approach the messaging the same. We felt like the whole year, if you started in August looking for what it's going to look like in November, you're going to miss everything in between.
Right.
So if you start right now trying to look at the end of the game on Friday, you're going to miss everything in between. So we are just, like I said, we're just going to focus on what business do we have to take care of next and try to, take care of that business. And so Friday will be here before we know it. Like we said, it's it all happens really fast, but before there, we just really got to take care of Thursday, and we're going to show up and, with Cedar Park and just what they've been historically, it's easy to just kind of get in awe of the tradition. We're not playing the tradition. We're just trying to play a good football team on Friday night. That's it.
And we've shown that we can compete with any football team that we've faced this season, even in the games where the score doesn't end up in our favor. Those games have been tight for the majority of the games. And obviously you've watched more of the film than any of us probably, but you can see where games shifted on a mistake, and sometimes it's a turnover, sometimes it's a missed opportunity at wide receiver, things like that. But that's part of the game, right? Yeah. And that's part of life. So
absolutely.
You teach these young men that you have to overcome those mistakes. You have to put your head down. You got to keep plowing forward.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And they've done a good job of that this year.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job as well, Coach. And we'll let you go. And I guess I don't know who.
We got Parsons and Pites that are coming up. They're sitting as far away from the table as they can.
So we don't got any coaches?
No, we're just going to go with Parsons and Pites. We're all going to kind of duck out and get to the festivities. So we're going to turn it over to these guys.
Great. And grab some candy for your
fantastic.
Kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it as always. Yep, good to see you.
So we'll which one? Who's first?
Nick.
Nick?
Yes, sir. Good to meet y'all.
It was at Parsons, they said?
Yes, sir.
Any relations to Matt Parsons?
No,
Joey
sir.
Parsons back in the day?
No, sir.
You're not related to the coaches?
Nope.
No. Okay. They put a little bit of an impression during their time here, but I think one of them's an elementary school PE coach or something.
Well, back in the day, Matt Parsons was a good running back. He was one of the top running backs in the state. So, I don't know if you remember the rapper Who, Mike Jones. They'd be like, who? And they'd be like, Mike Parsons,
No, I never heard.
Okay. I
You're
thought you were
going
kid.
way back before your time,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, we're old guys. So, Nick, talk to us a little bit about you're a senior, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're a defensive player mostly?
Yeah, I played linebacker.
Linebacker, right. That's where I recall calling your name. So talk a little bit about being a defensive player for this football team. Talk about your linebacker crew first.
I mean, it's a great crew. We got Calvin there, Matthew Anderson, the main seniors on the team, and just being with that crew and developing this whole team as we have a younger team this year. A lot of juniors starting, so having them as a leader on the team for everyone is a big part of everything. Just growing everyone up and leading the linebacker core is us three, just really big guys. And Chase Milne, the person that stepped up real big this year. Just those two really helped out, and the whole linebacker crew just working well together and just doing their thing. But overall, defensive-wise, it's been a great year. Great year. My bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, great year for us. I mean, very dominant as a whole unit. For once everyone's really grinding and working towards a bigger goal. It's not just a selfish player just doing their own thing. It's the whole team wanting to win, and as a whole defensive crew, it's just been a great experience altogether.
So growing up, most football players play a little bit of offense and a little bit of defense, but usually there's just a handful of guys that play that both ways when they get up into high school. Which did you prefer growing up? Did you like playing on offense, or you like playing on defense?
I was a big center guy. That was favorite position till this day. Love me some center.
See, I played center, so I can appreciate that.
Center and D-line were always my main spots. Then my sophomore year started to go a little linebacker, but still, till this day, that center, love that spot.
Well, in the defensive lineman, that's a unrecognized, especially by just the casual fans, type of position. Your role is to eat up blocks for guys like you, right? So given that, talk about your defensive line, Timon and Salorm and those guys. Talk about how important their role is to free you up, to make that read, to see the hole, to go fill it up.
Well, they stepped up a lot this year. Our D-line, they've been putting work at practice always. They're never stopping. They're always just going to war, fighting, trying to get better, just doing work, and it's showing. I mean, this year with their D-line, they really made it a lot easier for our job to just go fill the gap. They're making plays. Like Timon last game, 2 TFLs.
Yeah.
Just big game changers there. And Timon, Salorm, Virgil, and mainly Garrett Pites, sack leader of the district. He's helped that defense so much.
So he gets called for blitzes, though, right? Now, do they ever blitz you? You're more of a middle of the defense.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, occasional couple calls, but mainly.
What's your favorite one? What's your favorite stunt?
Oh, I love just going right down the middle.
There you go.
Mike Flitz right down the middle.
There you go.
Yeah, love it.
So do you sit on the sideline and go, Coach Lopez, give me
A couple times. I love that blitz.
I see it there. It's there. You got to give it to me. So, does he ever give in?
I try, but
Yeah.
Right, that's all you can do, right?
all you can do. I try.
A lot of times they just push you away or ignore you in those situations. So, well, talk a little bit about your experience at Leander High School as a student athlete. Key there being student athlete, right? The front part of student. People can forget, you don't just come to Leander High School to play football, right? You have a whole other life that deals with academics that's going to carry you into the future. So describe the things that you like the most about Leander High School as a student, and then talk to us a little bit about what your favorite classes are.
I'm a big math guy. Love me some math.
So you're a mathlete.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Love math. Hate English, but Just being a student athlete, like Coach Price always like harps on us of focusing on grades, and graduating is the main part of high school.
It is.
Football is a privilege that we do, but we always have to take care of it in the classroom before. And just it teaches like all of us just to be present and know what's going on, because it's more just about football at the end of the day. Most of us are going to grow on, graduate, have a life. If you don't have good grades and can go on, you can't go to college. So just being like a student athlete just teaches you a lot of responsibility to keep on going.
Well, and there are a lot of jobs that you can go into just with a high school diploma, but a lot of them end up in non-air conditioned type environments, and I know that's one of the things that encouraged me to go to college. Is my dad made me work some labor jobs, and I realized, man, I'm not cut out for this kind of stuff.
Don't be scared of it.
Oh, I'm not. I wasn't afraid of the labor. I just knew I didn't like it. I knew that I wanted to pursue an academic career. And looking back, sometimes I wish I would have gone into a trade. You know, I've got some sons. One's becoming a mechanic, and the other's an electrician. So, you know, they tell me that you know it's bad, it's hard, but I think that's just everybody, right?
Yeah.
So anything that's worth attaining as a goal, it's worth working for. Otherwise, why are you even out here? So, so what are your personal goals for this season?
I mean, we already, before the season started, we always wanted to make playoffs. We wanted to change what this whole program, what people always just think it is, like we're nothing. But this year we've showed that we are something and we're special. And like with the senior class, changing the mindsets, and Coach Flores is a big part of it, just making us better every day and just showing that we could do something on that field. And it's not like we're just an easy game that we could easy win for other teams. We're out there every week showing what we could do and just dominating.
Well, and there have been years in the past where out of the 10 games that Leander played, 4 or 5 of those were homecomings, including one that was Leander's own. And that tells you that other teams are trying to set their homecoming to play against a team they think they can win. But this year there were 3 homecomings that we were in. We're 2-1. So I think that'll change as we move forward. And you know, your class has a lot to do with that respect that people are realizing about the program. We've seen the lines in the Austin American-Statesman, and we've seen some individual lines get recognition, as well as the team in the Austin Sports Journal. How do y'all manage that kind of, you know, publicity? Or, I mean, do you get caught reading your headlines or?
Not really. I mean, we're focused on the game more than anything. Papers and what other people want to say about us has no reflection on us. We're just here to play ball and do our thing. And every week by week, we're just not focused on it at all. Just focused on winning, beating that opponent each week, and moving on.
All right, let's go back a little bit to your personal life. So are you planning, you know, as a mathlete, you probably have plans to attend some college, right? Do you have one in mind? Have you applied, anything like that?
Yeah, I just applied to Texas State and also Tech, actually. So I just got my response to them, so I'm going to go home and figure the rest of my stuff out. But go there, 4-year college, have a business degree or something in that field, then go from there.
Are you interested in playing athletics in college, or are you just looking for the academic career?
More just an academic career. I thought about football, but I just want to go on normal student.
Don't be scared of it.
No, but just academic student.
Well, and it's, you know, I always, whomever I interview, especially the students, I always tell them to try to stay involved in the sport as much as you can, whether you're going to coach some little kids in a few years, or one recommendation, we talked about it with Coach, I think it was the last podcast, is they're always looking for referees no matter where you go, and it's a quick, easy way to make money. You just got to watch out for them crazy moms if you call a holding penalty or a face mask penalty on their kid. But beyond that, it's an effective way to stay a part of the game, as well as earn a little bit of spending cash while you're in college. So which do you want to go to, Tech or Texas State? Because they're a little bit different. Texas State obviously a lot closer to home, but some of the college experience is about getting away from home. So which one do you want to attend the most?
Definitely Texas State. because it is far away, or not really that far, but it's close
far
far enough and close enough to go there and back if I need something or
Closer
emergency.
than Lubbock for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I toured the campus. I like Texas State a lot more. I mean, my sister also goes there too, so I could always see her, always come home. But the campus I loved.
Yeah, it's one of the more beautiful campuses in the state. Texas Tech, not so much, and there's like a rendering plant nearby or something, so you get that little bit of a smell every once in a while, depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Develop new allergies and stuff like that. Over there.
Well, and you got to watch out for flying tortillas also. So, but it's I think Tech's a good school. I just think Lubbock is really far, and of course I have no influence or really concern. I just wish you well. And I appreciate you for coming on to the show. And wish you luck on Friday. Go beat them Timberwolves.
Appreciate it.
Grab you some
we don't lose
a bag
Cedar
of
Park
candy.
now. Come on now.
And we'll talk to Garrett Pike next. He was a natural, wasn't he?
Mr. Football.
Hello. What's up, Garrett?
Mr. Manchild over here. We seen you on the field.
Well,
You got one gear. Love it.
And I saw Garrett on Saturday, the day after this last game. I was at Southwestern University doing sideline reporting, and there you were with all of the other recruits for Southwestern. That was a pretty good football game.
It was.
It didn't break the way the Southwestern wanted, but that team was first in conference going into that game, and so the Pirates are pretty close. And I know you're looking at all kinds of options for your college, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. I just wanted to mention that. Let's talk a little bit about leading the district in sacks.
That is – well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it without the rest of our D-line, the rest of our defense. Our DBs are covering well. Everyone's doing their job. And being able to be the district sack leader, it feels great. But it also has to do with the whole entire defense. And so, yeah, it feels amazing. But we're not done. But hopefully we can rack up a few more. Hopefully get to Cedar Park a few times and Eastview a few times, and hopefully some more in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of opportunities here. We talked to Coach a little bit about it. As a team, your team destiny is within y'all's hands, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you just got to go out, take care of business. And there are scenarios where even if you split these next two games, the potential to make the postseason is there. But we're not going to focus on that because, again, I feel a little jinky every time I start talking about it. But so let's talk a little bit about how it is to play Ironman football, so to speak. Now, I know you're not on every play on defense and you're not on every play on offense, right? It depends on what the package is, and sometimes they'll know you need to take a series off or something like that. But you got to get really tired playing both ways like that. Talk a little bit about that and what it does, how you feel about it.
Well, I started playing a lot more defense when the district started, and obviously I play a whole bunch of special teams. So it can get tiring at times, but being able to be resilient and be able to just be wanting to be out there all the time, it just beats that toughness. I mean, it just beats that
It makes it a lot easier to overcome the tiredness because you want to get out there and contribute.
You're young. There's no reason to be tired.
Yeah. There's plenty of time to sleep later.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? We can sleep when we're dead.
That's it.
So, but ultimately, it has been a very impressive season for you, production-wise, both offensively and defensively. And it's been a few weeks, and I hope you've dealt with the anger about it. But I want to talk a little bit about that touchdown that kind of got taken away from you. I know it's going to make it. But, I mean, it interests me because, as a center on varsity, I never got to carry the football. I touched the football every play, but I never got to carry one. And so to have one, and it was just kind of a freakish type play. I mean, it was one of those that, you'll always remember it.
Oh,
Right.
for sure. Like, that's never leaving my mind. But that whole game is never leaving my mind either. What I think was important was that would have been huge for us if we would have scored on that play. And obviously it ended up being a huge turning point of that game at the time. We went into halftime down 7-14. Would have been 14-14 if I hadn't done that. But
Well,
at that
I mean,
time,
that was kind of a play on the defenders. You got to credit the defender on
yeah,
that one.
he did a great job on that play to hustle down there and poke that out. When I broke through, I'm running down there and trying to catch my balance, and I didn't tuck that ball away, and it just comes flying out.
Yeah, I thought you
And
were
I-
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I felt that thing pop out, and it just like my heart just like sank. And so I went back to the sideline. And I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm down. I had a bunch of good teammates up there to pick me up. A bunch of coaches there to help pick me up, help move on. And I go down the next drive and I
Right.
rip that ball from that running back. So
Yeah.
Right, and that was one of the things we talked about a little bit on that broadcast, and it's kind of why I asked the question. Is you were able to just really, even though it's there and it'll be there when you're 65 years old, you're going to wake up one night going, man, if I would have just, But ultimately, you have the ability to push that aside and still play at a high level. And you've had great production before, but even since then, even more so. I mean, I've seen improvement from that H-back position with you in it. Week after week, it seems we see it more because there's success from it. And part of that's your ability to block, but the other is your ability to, one, carry the ball, but as a receiver. And occasionally I've seen them put you in the slot. What do you think about that, playing in that slot receiver spot?
I just like being out there to do multiple different things and show that I can be a very versatile athlete, to be able to be trusted to block, being trusted to run routes, catch, and hopefully not drop footballs. But
Well, everybody's
obviously-
going to drop one here or there,
Nah.
right? I mean, you just want to not be, you don't want it to happen ever.
Right.
But nobody's perfect, right?
Right. But yeah, being able to do all those different things, being put in such different spots, being a senior now, I've been in the offense for about 4 years, so I can be trusted to play outside, inside, H-back, tight end, you name it. You put me in the backfield, I don't know, but
Well,
maybe
and
maybe
that-
throw a pass.
That increases your value as a potential college athlete
Sure.
as well. And of course I'm partial to Southwestern because I've spent probably 7 seasons covering them here and there, and I've gotten to know the coaching staff there. I think you have talent enough to play probably Division I football somewhere.
Thank you.
But at the very least, Georgetown's a nice town, and I don't want to influence you at all, but they are going to build a stadium on that campus, and if you were attending, then you might be in that inaugural game at that campus. And they have some history. I know Peter doesn't want to hear
over
this,
there.
but they're 1-0 against LSU, and they have a winning record against the University of Texas, and they've beaten the Baylor and a bunch of other big Division I schools. Now, of course, they probably have a little bit of trouble with them now, but that's the difference in a Division I and III is the amount of budget that can be utilized, and they've had some investors. I don't want to keep recruiting. No, sorry.
Nah, it's okay.
But I talked to your dad a little bit on Saturday, and I've talked to him throughout the season, and he was the one that told me that Coach Mask had made you an offer. So I would just tell you that is a great coach right there, Coach Mask.
Yeah,
So,
I've just got to talk to him in person for the first time on Saturday. He told me about the stadium, and yeah, he's a great guy and I'm definitely really considering going there. I really like the school, but so yeah, I'm definitely keeping that in my mind. Want to go.
well, you
there.
got time, so
I do.
right, you don't have to make that decision today, obviously, and you want to keep your focus on the week ahead, right? But that's one of the problems that as seniors encounter, especially senior athletes that have the potential to play in college, is there's a lot of distraction. So how do you keep focused on the task at hand when you're visiting Southwestern versus Center College on the sideline, and these different things. How do you keep your focus? How do you keep your grades up? How do you worry about Cedar Park instead of worrying about, is Texas Tech going to call me, or
Well, I think it just comes with wanting it. Like, it's hard not to think about football. It's hard not to think about making that play, not fumbling at the goal line,
right.
or it's hard to think about, especially when it's Cedar Park too.
Right.
Because Cedar Park, I haven't beat them in no basketball game, no football game.
It's time.
And except in wrestling last year. That's the only time I've ever beaten Cedar Park. So it definitely really means something this game, especially, and makes it really easy to focus on just that. I take care of my grades. I take care of all the other stuff, but I never lose sight on that game that week.
Yeah, Southwestern wouldn't be recruiting you if you didn't have grades.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes,
for
sir.
sure. So you mentioned wrestling, and that is quite a rivalry as well between Leander and Cedar Park, and they have the backyard brawl.
Absolutely, that was
which
fun.
is really cool. Every year they'll shut the lights down in the gym, and the only light is a big, huge light that's just right over the mat, and it's match after match, and it's intense, man.
It is.
Are you going to wrestle this year?
Absolutely.
So my wife and I we became fans. My children wrestled too, but they didn't wrestle until they got into high school, and so we didn't really know a whole lot about it. My idea of wrestling was Hulk Hogan and the Undertaker. It's not really actual wrestling. It's acting, but athletic acting nonetheless, but still acting. And I just grew to really enjoy watching that style wrestling, the Olympic style, the Greco-Roman, whatever type of wrestling that is. It's other than having to go to a tournament sometimes and be there all day, it's really neat sport.
It is, and that backyard brawl, I was so glad to be a part of it. It felt like a playoff game.
It is, yeah,
absolutely. And yeah, that night was probably my favorite night out of the entire wrestling season, because I don't like Cedar Park.
Right.
So,
well, and if you think about it, I mean,
You're lying.
every sport there's one-on-one matchups, right? In every sport, but ultimately, football's a team sport, and wrestling, while it's a team sport and that you're scoring, I mean, you get a real one-on-one matchup with a guy that is about your size, usually about your ability, and they hate us as much as we don't like them, right? So, guys like Frank ran such big scores up on Cedar Park when they were new that they've been trying to get revenge back on us.
Game was over at halftime. Cars are still coming in. Yeah.
But they've been trying to get revenge for those for years, and that of course the players, they don't know nothing about that,
No,
right?
Yeah, we after we beat them, we go to their Whataburger and ask them who's buying burgers.
wow,
They know.
that's great.
And they got to the point where we show up, they weren't even there. They didn't care about it no more.
Man.
We tell them CP means can't play. That's what we should tell them back in the day. CP
I'm
means
gonna remember
can't
that.
play.
I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah. Well, they know.
Yeah.
Hey, we collected rent every time we played against them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything you want to ask?
So, I mean, you obviously stick out like a sore thumb on the field. I mean, you have a gear unlike anybody else on that field. What's going on in your mind pre-snap? Is it cool, calm, collective, or is it get down with the sickness?
Let's get down with the sickness.
That's what I'm talking about right
Hell
there.
yeah. But
Yeah.
every snap it's all about I want to try and beat the guy in front of me. I want to make a play. I want to
There
set up
you
my
go.
teammates to make a play, and it's just you want to get after it. That's why I want to be out there. Offense, defense, special teams doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely means something to want to get right in there.
Yeah, I saw 65 holding you pretty good last game, but you got fired up after that. They couldn't catch you after that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's that game didn't go how we wanted it. Obviously, I feel like I didn't play up to my potential that week, but I'm getting right back after it, getting right back on my saddle, and getting right after it at Cedar Park. So
It's a big game.
absolutely.
I mean, you're going to be, 40, 50 years old, and you're going to be like, man, I never beat Cedar Park, and it's going to stick with you.
I know. That's what I was thinking about Glenn. Then we beat Glenn. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I got that.
I don't
monkey
mean to
off
put
my back.
pressure. I'm just throwing out facts out there because it does happen.
I welcome pressure. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about
Yes,
right
sir.
there. Hey, that's good.
So that really goes to show you when they're having to hold you how well you're playing and how much you frustrated that opponent. So, you know, I'm with you. Since my kids were in school, so that would have been about 2012 or 2013. We haven't beaten Cedar Park since then. So it's something that needs to happen. This is a team that I think has all of the components to be able to do it, but they're not going to give it to you, right? That's one of the things about, and one of the reasons they've had success is because they've been very disciplined. But offensively, they're not up to a usual standard, but they have been kind of picking up a little bit of momentum as the season wears on. You watched film this week of Cedar Park? Okay, so who stands out to you as somebody that needs to be watched closely?
21.
21, that's the running back?
I don't know how much he's going to play. I've heard some things about injuries or not, but we're going to treat him like he's going to play, and we know how good he is, but we're gonna take it to him. We're not scared of him. We weren't scared of Jet Walker. We're not scared of him. We're going to, as good as he is.
As big a running back as you'll probably face in high school.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, we're gonna go in there. We're gonna hit them. We're gonna go in and make plays. We're just gonna have to, as a team, we're gonna come together and work together to take everyone down. Like not just the running back, but their offensive line, quarterback, everybody.
You're gonna be headhunting that football too, defensively.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's what I want to see. I want to see some turnovers because they really shift the momentum of the game. As long as they break our way, then I think we'll be set up. I have a good feeling about Friday, but what do I know? I mean,
hey, we all do. Practice this week has been great. We've been bringing the energy. It's Cedar Park.
That's
week.
where
There's
it
nothing
starts,
like
right? You people don't realize that you play the game on Friday night, but you really win that game on your preparation on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And of course, you have to execute on Friday, but it's that early part of the week that really sets the tone for that game on Friday. And unless some freakish thing happens, which I'm not going to mention anything, but, you get them at home. It's senior night, right? I mean, it can't really set itself up any better for you to get an opportunity to take these guys down. Now, obviously, it's not Garrett Pites versus Cedar Park, right? It's you and the Leander Lions. Thinking about your defensive cohorts, who would you go into battle with? And I don't mean battle on a football field, but if you had to go to war, I mean, who are those guys that you're going to take with you?
That first guy that came to my mind was Calvin Scott Kessler.
Yeah.
And Nick Parsons, Malachi Filan, and Caleb Lemire. All those guys come to mind. Those guys, they're dogs. We can play football. We can rally the football. That's what makes us as good as a unit, is because we know how to play together and we can play hard.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm ready to strap it on myself.
I
I'll probably last about 3 plays.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to play right now.
So, obviously you'd like to get it underway, but, you got a couple more days of preparation. You want to focus on that. And, speaking of college, not which one you're going to pick and where you're going to play it, what academic career are you looking to pursue when you're in college?
I'm looking at some business right now. I took a few business classes last year, business info management and business management. I've been thinking about some with marketing, but I do think I'm just going to go into something business for now.
It gives you a broader opportunity of career paths because a lot of organizations will require some type of degree, and business is the broadest one. That's what I have a degree in, but just don't work in compliance.
Yes, sir.
People don't like you because you always tell them that they have to do things a certain way. But I recommend, and I'm not really worried about it, that you'll continue to make the grades. You'll make the right choice when you pick your college. It'll be something that you should probably consider prayerfully, and go to the choice that fits you best. But ultimately, stick with the sport as much as you can. I always say it, coach, play, or referee, but, or broadcast. You can do like Frank and I and set up and, after you graduate and you're working in the Central Texas area, we might have a spot for you somewhere.
Yes, sir.
So appreciate you coming out again for the second time, Garrett.
Stay away from that candy tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Well, here, but
Got you.
grab some right here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we want to thank everyone for coming out tonight to the Trunk or Treat edition of the Lion Nation podcast.
All 100 of y'all. Appreciate it.
Big crowd here. Everybody's out collecting candy, and we want to just thank you. And remember that we do have a broadcast on Friday night. It's the Lions hosting the Cedar Park Timberwolves. It is senior night. Although you can watch a broadcast live, we want you in the stadium. We need to be as loud and as rowdy as possible. So make sure you show up. If you're a fan of the Lions, you have no excuse. It is the day after Halloween. You don't have to worry about trick-or-treating. Grab you a couple of those Reese's Cups out of your kids' trick-or-treat bag and head to AC Bible. And I want to thank everybody again, and Frank and Juan and Peter, and, of course, Coach Price and Garrett and Parsons. So we want to go on ahead, and you have anything you want to say, Frank?
We're coming for you, Cedar Park, just so you know.
That's
Hope
right.
you're watching.
Roll Pride.
Go Lions.
We'll see you on Friday. Good night.